Hey everybody, this is Jamie Shaw, and you are on the Jamie Shaw Marketing Show, and we are live. I have a couple special guests tonight, Maria from the Netherlands and Mr. Dave Renica. So they can jump on out and speak a little bit, and I'll let Maria speak first. Welcome to my hangout, Maria. I'm glad you got to come.
Yes, thank you, Jamie. This is for me the first time to be on your hangout, and I am Maria from the Netherlands, and it's here 2 o'clock in the morning, and next day or in a few hours, my kids don't have to go to school, so I can join and. That's the difference between me here and also Dave Renica in South Africa. We have a difference like 6 or 7 hours. So and I'm a mom, so I have 3 little kids to look after. But yeah, I'm in this business now for almost a year. And first, I want to say English is not my first language. So that's why I err a lot and looking for the right words. But I have a really great sponsor. I've known her for a year now, and she taught me so much. And the last, I think, 4 or 5 months, we are in a mastermind group, and that is so helpful. Because every week, every Saturday night, we have to show up, and it's my time because I really want to do this. So I stay up, and sometimes it's 5 or 6 in the morning, but and then it's Sunday, so I have my day off. But for me, showing up is the most important thing. Because if you don't show up, nothing will happen. And if you constantly show up, things will happen. If you work and also doing live hangouts like you, Jamie, that is so important because you learn so much from that. I am doing that now for more than 90 days. And before I was afraid of doing video, and well, look at me now. I'm on a live webinar. So, Jamie, thanks again for being on the hangout with you. And I think we have a great topic to talk about.
Oh, sure, Maria. I'm glad you're here. And my buddy Dave Renica from South Africa. What is it, Dave? Like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning over there?
Man, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. This is about the time that I'm up anyway, but thanks for having me on, man.
Sure. Tonight's topic, we were going to talk about the war that goes on in your mind. So we all have a struggle that goes on in our mind. And it doesn't matter how big of a leader you become or how successful you become. You always have negative thoughts about yourself. And we all struggle with that. We always all think that we're not good enough. We don't deserve to have success, or we're not doing enough work, or we just don't have the ability to be successful. And that's things we just make up in our mind. I spend 3 hours a day educating my mind on my travel back and forth to work. So because I have a 3-hour round trip back and forth to work. So I'm always listening to audio, and 2 things come up in the audios I've listened to all week, and that was setting goals and the war that goes on in your mind. So I chose the war that goes on in your mind because I have this war. I grew up with a self-limiting belief all my life, and that struggle always happens to me. And it doesn't matter how much I rise. I still have days where I don't believe in myself. I don't believe I'm good enough. I don't think I'm providing enough value to my community or my team. I don't feel I'm good at being a good enough leader or a good enough sponsor, and then I'll take some action and figure out how to do that. And we'll talk about the action here a little bit later, but I want to get Dave's thoughts on this a little bit.
Yeah, man. It definitely is a struggle and kind of like a mind shift. You need to change. I can remember the first the first 6 months in particular that were really hard, especially when you try to attain success and you're not getting anywhere. I can remember 7 years before that, me trying to get this whole thing right, and it never really worked out. Mainly because I wasn't really committed to what I wanted to do. I kind of thought I wanted success, but I never really made that happen. I mean, generally speaking, I'm not a very organized person. In fact, nothing around me is organized. The only thing I really organize are my computers that I work with, things that I'm really passionate about. But when it came to financial success in any form, man, I couldn't hold down a job. I would work for a company probably for 2 years before I moved on to the next one. And I can actually remember in fact, in all of my jobs, probably with the exception of one, I would never actually do what I was told to do, because I kept on doing the things that I wanted to do. Like I used to work for a company. It was called Barcom Electronics, and I was there as a assembly line guy who used to put these components on boards. But I always ended up fixing somebody's computer. I always fixing it, trying to solve a problem. And I remember at the end of 3 months exactly, they told me they don't need me anymore because I wasn't really fulfilling. So I got fired from that. And then in my other job I worked for as a belting technician. Guess what? I got kind of let go of that job because I was always trying to solve computer problems in the company, and the managing director called me in and said, this isn't really something that we think you'd be good at. But I really love working with computers, and I do it every day now. I work on a computer. I still do what I enjoy, but it kind of mixes both worlds. But I can remember that because I wasn't passionate about what I was doing in the past, when I started to work on a computer and start building my business on a computer, even then I struggled because I wasn't organized and I didn't have the right thinking patterns. And the only time that I really started to see success happen in my business was when I started changing patterns in the way that I would run my day. So I started to listen to a lot more audios. I started to interact with the people that were around me. And because of that, my day-to-day schedule changed, where I got to the point where the only thing I wanted to do was concentrate on what my business was about. And if you don't have that, you really are spiraling out of control. You don't really have any structure in your business. And so that's my experience, that you need to have some sort of structure in the way that you think and things that you're actually concentrating on.
Cool, Maria. You have some thoughts on this topic too?
Sorry, I had to look for unmute. Well, it's very hard to keep focused, and also for me. And what my problem is that when I sit behind my computer, I have a lot of distractions. Like now, there's a message coming in, and for me it's very hard to ignore that. But when I decided to treat my business as a business and not as a hobby, I put down my phone and I close all the windows I don't need at that time and only open the windows that I need, because I really don't like to to sit 2 hours behind my computer and haven't got anything done. So that's why I also, like they said, I make a schedule, and I have a list of things I want to do, and I am organized. I have different notebooks, and then I have different tabs. Like on Monday we have a show, and there I have notes. On Tuesday I have my hangout, and then I have my notes. And so I keep them organized. Before I had just one notebook. Then I write everything in on date, and then I have to look for everything. But that didn't work. So I changed my my notes, and I can find something. If I need something, I can find it again. So it's very how you say it, it's very important that you get organized, and how you can also your thoughts have to be organized. And a friend of mine, she has a mind mapping, and that's a really great tool to use, but I forgot where you can find it, but I will I think put it on the chat or gave it to you later, Jamie, because like you said, the war in your head, sometimes when I am in a good mood, when I want to work, I have all those ideas and things I want to do, and they are all those different ideas are going through my head, and then I write them down, and I can do it step by step, because before I didn't do that, and then I had a lot of ideas, but when I get on my computer, all those ideas were lost. So yeah, I like being organized, and you can be organized on paper, the old-fashioned way with the pen and paper, or you can use what I like to use is Notepad. That's that's a tool on your computer. I think every Windows computer has it, and it's so easy to use. And then what I use is Google Drive. You can save it on Google Drive, and yeah, the good thing about Google Drive is you can also access it on different devices, on your mobile, and on your mobile and on your desktop and on my laptop. I work on all three of those things. So when I have an idea floating in my head, I make it to Google Drive, and then I have a lot of things on Google Drive, and then when I have the time to work on it, I can pick something and then work on that. So I am organized, but I have so much everywhere that for, I think, other people it looks like a mess, but I'm kind of like organized. So do you use Google Drive too, Jamie?
Yes, I use Google Drive, and I use OneDrive, and Dropbox. I use all three. So and that was something I wanted to bring up too. Yeah, I mean, when you have an idea like that, you should write it down, or put it in a notepad, or I use Evernote sometimes. I think Sonia uses Evernote quite a bit. I'm kind of old-fashioned guy. I like pen and paper, so but sometimes I get a good idea when I'm driving, so I'll record a video to myself that way I can go back and access it later, and take notes on it. But and a lot of times we rise up as people of great value and everything, but we still have the struggle in our minds, and there's a lot of things that cause you can have a confrontation at work, like I still work a full-time job, but you can have a confrontation at work, and it'll trigger the things in your mind, I'm not good enough, or oh, that I'm stupid or something like that, and you always have the negative thoughts in your head. And I'm going to give you 3 little steps on how to start overcoming some of them struggles you have in your mind. And they're called the 3 steps to get what you want. Step 1 is decide what you want. And most leaders and stuff talk about it's a clear vision. A clear vision of what you want and where you want to go. And that clear vision can be anything, I mean, it's not really, I don't make mine about money, because money will come, as you rise as a leader and stuff like that. And I've used these 3 steps, and I know they work. So first one, decide what you want, have a clear vision. I had a clear vision of that I wanted to step up and become a leader in our community. I want to, or it could be defined as setting goals too. I wanted to be a panel member on the 24-hour marketing mastermind. So I set my mind to it, and I started working and standing out in the crowd. We've been giving you 5 ways to stand out in your business, show up, stand out as, as a marketer, make comments, make monster comments, take action, invest in yourself, invest in your community were the 5. I think they were. I'd have to go back and look at my notes and make sure those are all 5, but it's kind of along that lines. And somebody make a comment. Oh, Sonia's in the comments. Hi, Sonia. How are you doing? She must have heard me talking about her, so she jumped on. So, that was my vision. That was my goal, to become a panel member on the 24-hour marketing mastermind. So step 2 was to pretend I already had it. So I pretended I was already a panel member. When I got to be a special guest, I acted like I was already a panel member. I started making monster comments and working towards that goal, that vision. So step 2 is pretend like you already have it. So I did, I worked toward, I acted like a leader. I made comments like a leader. I trained like a leader in the workshop, and then step 3 is act like you already have it, and I did. I act like I was already a leader. When I was asked to train, I stepped into the role and I trained like a leader, and I acted like a leader. And in time, as I did these 3 steps continuously, my reward was I got to be a panel member on the 24-hour marketing mastermind. Any thoughts?
No, that's great, man. And if I can just add, the one thing that I do know about Jamie is that he never complains. And quite frankly, if you complain about anybody else that's not getting you to the top, then you really aren't going to go for it at all. If you don't have anything good to say, then just don't say anything. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, and that's really a hallmark of what Jamie does. Is he doesn't complain, he gets right to it, and he concentrates on uplifting people and helping them out. He's very encouraging, and one of the things I really admire about him, and not just Jamie, but Maria, Sonia, Tim, Barb. Sorry, I keep calling her Barbara. I was calling her Barb. And that's the whole thing, is to be able to be contributing to a group of people. And it's so important that you have that focus, is to actually work as if you are already successful. The whole thing about faking it till you make it. It's all about attitude. It's all about building up your your confidence. A lot of people don't have confidence. A lot of people don't have a good perspective on themselves. A lot of the time, and I see this in a lot of people who really don't get results, is that they don't have a lot of confidence in themselves. But you need to realize that you absolutely do have everything you need to succeed. The only thing is, are you going to focus on what's positive, or are you going to focus on what's negative? And if you're building up your business based on things that you don't like, you can't expect to get anywhere. If you want to build your business up, you've got to be focusing on the things that really help. And one of the great things I love about this community is the fact that we're all constantly helping each other out, and we ignore the stuff that we don't like. I mean, you know, that's the whole idea of becoming successful. If you know, and you know, it really leads down to the fact that if you are a person that focuses on negativity, you really are just being selfish. You being selfish. You're concentrating on your own problems. And one of the ways that I got over my depression is in order to stop complaining, is I got involved with my community at my church, for instance. I started helping out on a regular basis to the point where it became the focus of my life. And because of that, I got out of depression. I'm not saying this is the case for all people who are depressed, because I know there are some serious problems and people that have chemical imbalances. But generally speaking, depression is a self-involved, selfish thing. And the way that you get out of that is to concentrate on helping other people. And one of the things that I really admire about our community is we've developed the culture of helping people. And in many respects, I kind of forget who's actually directly on my team. It doesn't matter. You don't need to be on my team. If you're just willing to work and to help, that's really all the qualification you need. I don't know, Maria, you want to say something in response to that?
Yeah, I really want to respond, because last week, Dave, I think you know, I was complaining that I didn't get results. And the funny thing about the war in my mind is, I have 1 or 2 weeks that it's my business is going bad, or my mindset is very low, and I do stuff but I don't get results. And last week I was complaining about that, and from beginning of this week I've done so much. I have results that I actually can see. And Dave, you were doing a live hangout on Facebook about people want to see the outcome, what it can be. And I work as much as I can on my business, and I really need a good mindset, and I need to go in a sort of workflow, and also have the time to do that, because some of you can do this all day, but I can't. I wish I could, but I can't. But now I've seen results, and when I see results, it motivates me just more to keep on going. And that's why when Jamie asked me to or asked in the group if someone will join his hangout, and I thought, oh, I'm available, so I want to jump on and share what I know. And it's a great feeling, and but in my back of my head, I know this feeling will stop. I don't know why, and I do know that I must keep on going, do stuff that and ask questions, because if I don't ask questions, I'm not learning, and I'm not interacting with the people in our group, and I'm not doing stuff. So when I do stuff, I am in the workflow and getting more success every time when I do something, and then it's Saturday already, and then we have our workshop, and then I can tell about what I did and what I achieved the last week and what I'm gonna work on, and people will say, "Oh, you're great, you're doing fine," and everyone is saying my English is getting better all the time. And in my head, I think I'm not that good at English because I wait too long to find a good word, or I say it in the wrong way. But that's also mindset, because I also watch my videos, the videos I did on YouTube, and then I think, well, I did pretty good. So I must, like you said, Dave, you must think of the positive and not on the negative, because if you think on the negative, your energy will slowly go down. So always think of the positive. So yeah, I can talk for hours on this, but Jamie, do you have anything else to want to talk about?
That's what I was going to ask you. If you went back and watched your Hangouts with Sonia, you know, and go back and watch this one too. Go back and watch yourself speak on the workshop, because the way you're speaking tonight, you know, I see a leader in the making. You know, Dave's chipped away the rough edges. You're rising and you don't realize it. You're rising into, you know, a leader, and I don't think you really realize it. So I would say go back and watch, you know, some of your Hangouts that you have with Sonia and see that person on the screen, because I see a different person than you see, and I know Dave does too. You know, when you're talking, you're glowing, so I know you're confident in yourself and you believe in yourself, because I can see it as you talk.
Yes, thank you, Jamie. Yeah, and that's also the thing that I think all women don't like see herself on pictures, and on video, you see yourself like other people see you. So that for me was also a little bit. I didn't like to watch myself on videos either, before and on pictures. But now I'm getting used to myself. It sounds weird, but because I've watched the Monday Hangout and the Wednesday Hangout for almost a year now, and I think they are, well, I know Dave Reineke, of course, but I always thought that Pat Patterson, that he was a celebrity. And last Tuesday, he was on our Hangout, and on the pre-Hangout, I told him that, and then he said, "No, I'm just a smart ass," and blah blah blah, like Pat is, and it made me so. I thought I would be very nervous, but he's just a normal person, and like we all are, and we can all do this. And I never thought, maybe a year ago, I never thought I would ever do this, but when I do this, I really liked it. And the first 3 Hangouts with Sonia together, I was so nervous, and I had sweaty hands and sweaty feet even. It was so difficult, but since a few weeks I am sitting here in my own. I have my own room, and I have set everything up, and it look like an office. So I am like you said, a leader in the making, and I'm preparing myself to be a leader, and that's also I'm gonna show it. My book, my Tony Robbins. It's all in your mind. You have to be act like a leader. And I think Katie Stage also said it. You have to act like a six-figure earner to become a six-figure earner. So I lost my train of thought. I don't know how to say it, but I was so nervous. But if you keep on doing live hangouts, and I do it now for 90 days or more, and now I'm getting used to it. And you should always keep on going and keep. But also, what I do to keep my mind, my mindset towards a mindset of a leader, because I still think I'm not a leader because I don't have a team yet. Katie always says that, yet. I don't have any leads yet. Don't forget to say the yet at the end of the sentence. But I always read, and what I also did is I made a video about what I read, and then it made me. It's like when you are at high school, you read a book and you had to make a book report where you get you have to get how you say it. You have to give it to the teacher. So I forced myself to do a video about it and tell what I've learned and what I've reached, what I've read, and that I'm reading but also learning and doing. So you have to keep on going, and I am loving it. I really love to learn and do, and unfortunately I can't stay up all day, but I wish I could. I wish I could also be a 24-hour marketer, but unfortunately I'm not.
I've heard it in one of my audios. Just because you don't have a team now, don't mean you can't prepare for when you have a team. So it's better to prepare yourself now for when you do have a team. You'll know what to do. And I'm sure Dave will have some thoughts on this. So.
Yeah, I wanted to address this, and Maria, I want to say this to you. You need to understand that I wasn't always a 24-hour marketer. When I started out, and for about a year and a half, I didn't have this much of an influence. You got to understand, especially considering the fact that I did work a full-time job while I was doing this. So I understand the difficulties of only being able to work for a few hours. But, the difference is in how much I push myself, all right? I talk about one of the things that, on the difference between somebody who actually earns and somebody who doesn't, is the fact that you've got to find time to work your business. And I mean that in all sincerity. A lot of us, I know of somebody that runs his own business, and he's moderately successful, but he refuses to work on the weekend. Absolutely refuses to work on the weekend. And I can remember even working for somebody. I was doing merchandising at the time. I was fitting up vending machines because that's what I did. It was really, really hard work. That was terrible. But I had this policy, like I would never give out my phone number. I would absolutely get really upset if anybody called me outside working hours. And it's a funny thing, when I started to work, I do all of those things that I really didn't want to. Now, so I will accept anybody who reaches out to me past working hours. I always respond to people as quickly as I possibly can. I absolutely work on the weekend because I always find time to work, always. And it's just something I do. I find time to do my business. And if I can't work inside of those working hours, I will work outside of those working hours. And there were many times when I worked until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, go to sleep for like 3 hours or 3 or 4 hours, then wake up and then go to work. I would tire myself out because that's how desperately I wanted it. You know, I speak of in one of my videos, I talk about a friend of mine who's the head of a department at a school. Now, HOD, I don't know if you guys have that, HOD at schools, where you are a teacher, but then you actually have to study to become a head of a department. And a friend of mine who had a family, he had like 2 kids. One of them had learning problems, big learning problems. So it was a big task. Married, and he made this deal with himself that he would go to bed early and wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, work for 3 hours and get ready for school and go to work. He found the time to work because he absolutely wanted that position that badly. He made time to work on his business. And for me, I did that for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years, before I got to a point in my business where I actually remember the conversation. I told my boss that I was leaving and he could go and jump in a dry lake, take a short walk of a long pier, or take a long walk of a short pier, and I would never be coming back. And I told him that, and I walked straight out, and I actually used the phrase, "You are next." All right? And I walked out of my job. And it was the most amazing feeling in the world, I'll tell you what. But all of that moaning, all of that crying, all of that pain was totally worth it. And I described it on my video as childbirth, okay? When you give birth, you go through a lot of pain. I've never been pregnant, but as I understand it, there is a lot of pain in childbirth, and in a lot of ways, it's like reaching success. You absolutely have to go through a lot of pain and a lot of discomfort and getting out of your comfort zone. Because I imagine when you're pregnant, you know, if you're a smoker, you got to stop smoking. If you sleep a certain way, you got to stop sleeping in it. You know, you can't, you got to eat certain things. You've got to change your habits. And there are so many parallels you can draw with that. I'm sure even on the husband's side, you've got to change the way that you live your life. You know, that you've got to make different habits. And for me, I had to change the way that I was living, because before I was successful, I was doing certain things that were sabotaging my success. And so when I got told to do certain things, it was really uncomfortable. What do you mean? I've got to learn stuff. I've got to work on my business every single day. I've got to be in contact with my, what are you talking about? This is going to totally cut into my watching TV time. This is totally going to cut into my social time. This is totally going to cut into my just lying around and doing absolutely nothing time. No. When I started to reach success, the one thing people noticed about me is that I stopped going to social events. I was on the computer every day, and it drove other people crazy. And that's exactly what it takes, all right? You've got to become an absolute, workmonger, if that's a word, for you to actually reach the heights that you want to. And I'm sorry if this is upsetting to people, but the only reason why Jamie and Sonia and Maria and Tim, the only reason we are reaching where we are today is because we have designed our life around our business. And for those of you who think, and I tell this to Jamie all the time, that you can get a work-life balance, it's absolute rubbish. All right? You've got to make it part of your life. And here's the truth. And I say this as a raving review. There's this guy I know named Anik Singhal. Anik is a guy who loves doing business, and he got married fairly recently. He went on his honeymoon. He had a hangout with his team on his honeymoon. Now, you guys might be saying, what the hell? Is this guy mental? No. He absolutely loves what he does, and he makes it part of his life. And his wife understands it. He certainly said, my wife gave me permission, because he made a big deal about that. But who in their right mind works for somebody like a boss and says, yeah, I'll make some business phone calls during my honeymoon? It doesn't exist. And that is the main difference that distinguishes a person that loves what he does, incorporates it in his life, and makes it part of his routine. So back to you, Jamie. Sorry I took up a little bit of time there.
Oh, that's fine, Dave. I can listen to you talk all night long. So, yeah, and you know, the 3 steps I gave you, you know, which are decide what you want, pretend you already have it, and act like you have it. You know, those are some of the pillars that Dave was covering. You know, and you just got to focus on what you want and go after it. So that's what I'd say to you, Maria. You know, focus on a clear vision that you want. Say, I want to get 5 leads today, and pretend you already have 5 leads, and then tomorrow go out and act like you already have them 5 leads, and do it every day. And eventually, you know, you'll start getting 5 leads every day. I taught that strategy in the workshop about how to get leads posted in Facebook groups, you know, and I haven't done it all week long. And guess what? I've got 1 lead so far this week. Last week I had like 3 or 4 leads a day, you know. So, but I've had some other things going on this week. You know, I've been training my brain all week, and my job's kept me really busy, so I'm drained. So I'm listening to audio on the way home, and then I'm on training at night and stuff too. So I don't just quit and take the time off. I refocus on something else, you know, something I'm lacking in, something I'm not doing. I'll go and retrain myself in that area, and then you know, next week I'll go back to posting in groups again. And plus, I like to take a break from posting in groups so I don't look like I'm a spammer, you know. And I've talked about this several times about, you know, spacing out your post and taking, you know, a break here or there just so it don't look like you're spamming your links out, and changing your ads and stuff up. So, you know, my next goal is to, I think I put it out a couple weeks ago on my Hangout, that my next goal was to make L3 in 6 months, which my 6 months is April. You know, so I'm working on that every day, and I'm getting close to L1. So I'm getting close to that goal of starting to rise up to the leadership ranks. And, you know, and that's what I decided what I want. I'm pretending I've already have it, you know, and I'm taking action to get to that. And if I don't make that goal in April, then I'll refocus and look at what I've done, and then I'll go back in and I'll set a new goal and start working towards it. You know, I might only make L2 by then. Who knows? I might make L5 by April. Who knows? You know, it just depends on how hard I work and how much effort I put into it.
And what I want to say about that is, I don't know who, but someone said you have to put your goals high enough, because if they are easy to achieve, there aren't good goals. You have to really motivate yourself. And I have a goal, and my goal is, or was, I'm gonna tell it later. My goal is to go to the next live event of MLSP next year in August, I think that is. But I already looked up my for a plane ticket and for hotels, and I've looked everything up already. But my son is his birthday is on the 11th of August, so that's middle in that period that MLSP has their event. And also we are going on vacation, and this year we didn't go on vacation, so I don't think I'm going in August, but I really want to go next year. So I have to rewrite my goal again. But I made a goal for also to July. I think it's 8 or 9 months, and I am gonna start on December. and I am preparing now, and I have also old-fashioned the sticky notes, and there it says Jamie's training, because I really want to post in groups, and I saw Sonia was showing Excel sheet with like 100 or so Facebook groups, and then when she can put the date and what advertisement she made, and because you have to keep track of what you did and don't post in the same group in 3 days or so. So I'm preparing myself to start on December, and I'm picking all the information from different people about your training, Jamie, about posting in groups. And also I have last 3 or 4 weeks I have working on my ebook, and it's like a project for me because I also do different things. I listen to webinars, replay, and I am helping someone setting up his strategy, and but it's finished now. But now I'm thinking I don't have to put it on my blog, so I can't follow her course again. But back to the topic. Setting goals are most important, and you have to look at them every day. I have room to put my my post-its, my sticky notes, and I can always look at my goals. And I am saying to myself, I'm going to the States next year, and I really want to meet you all, and also my dear friend Katie. I really want to meet her in person. So yeah, and I say that to myself every day. So my why of my goal is clear in my head, and my goal is my why, and my why is always growing, and then that keeps me motivated to keep on going, keep on showing up, and be there, and doing different strategies that work, by the way. And yeah, I am really looking forward to get started on your training, because I have I think also on MLSP library I saw something about posting in groups, and every time when I see something, and that's also organizing, when I see something I've noticed how do you say it, a star that you can bookmark a page, and you can put it in a folder, and that's from Dave Reiniger's SAM training. I think it's in module 1, how to set up your browser. And because of I have a new computer, I had to install everything, so I have to do everything I had over and over again. So I'm learning and learning, and sometimes I go to bed early because my head is so full of everything, and has to go in place. And if you oh yeah, what I want to say was what Dave said about sacrifices. I was addicted to watching Netflix. And I watch series in, I think in a weekend. I just press on play, and I watch a series like 3 episodes of not episode. How do you say it? All the long thing. I maybe all in one weekend. And now I think of that was such a waste of time. And but yeah, I can't turn back time, but I stopped watching Netflix. But sometimes I really want to watch something, but I lost my interest because my why is so big that when I have my free time, I throw my phone away because I also have installed Netflix on my phone. I have to get rid of it, but I stopped doing. I watch the news. I don't watch the news anymore. I don't watch the news about 6 years, I think. So I don't know what's happening in the world. Almost the important things will come up in Facebook, but you have to sacrifice. Also. Sometimes we go in the weekends to friends and family, but now I say I'm not going on Saturday night. And you have to. I think about what I want and what I don't want, and at first it was very hard to. Like smoking, I stopped smoking for 3 or 4 weeks now. And it's still hard to don't grab a cigarette because my husband still smoke. And when I see on the webinar somebody's is smoking, and then I think, I miss it so much. But I'll be strong and don't smoke ever again. So yeah, it's like you said, it's in your mind, and your mind has you have to keep your mind focused. And it's not like you keep it focused one time. No, you have to keep it focused every time you get up. And during the day, you have to keep your mind focused on your goal, and always, keep your head steady, and don't get distracted on silly things.
Sure, Maria, but you don't have to overwhelm yourself. You can take a day for you and just come down, spend some time with your family and stuff like that. That's where a lot of people get overwhelmed and how they say overloaded. I don't get overloaded because I've always carried a heavy load in my career. And it was never normal or unusual for me to have 3 to 4 jobs on my desk at one time. And right now at my job, I'm juggling 2 jobs right at the moment, and then plus I take care of all the IT, all the computers, and training new people and stuff too. And I design subdivisions and highways and stuff like that. I've been working on a sanitary sewer design for the last week, and I got it out the door, and now I'm working on right-of-way plats on another job. So as soon as I get the right-of-way plats done, I got to go back to my subdivision, and I got to start designing the storm sewer and the water line. So so it's nothing for me to juggle 2 or 3 jobs at one time. I've done it a long time, and I think that's why I can I hold myself up to a higher standard, and I allow myself to do 2 or 3 things at one time because I'm used to doing it. But some people get overwhelmed by doing that, and sometimes you just got to step back and take a little break and clear your mind and refocus about what you want and go after it. And I'm sure Dave's going to have some thoughts on this too, because he's like Pops, the wisdom master.
You're very kind, Jamie. The whole thing about focusing in on what's important is it's so fundamental, and it really changes your perspective. So I'll give you an example. One of the things that I've been doing for the last 3 years is focusing on my growth, and I've made marketing a part of what I do every single day. So when distractions do come your way, you kind of see it in a different filter. You don't get carried away with all the negativity. You kind of look at everything in the form of marketing in some way, shape, or form. So I'll give an example. The last couple of weeks, even months, there have been this whole thing about the presidency in America. And what's interesting to me is that I've been seeing it through the eyes of a marketer. That's what it's been so amazing for me, is that when I look at things now, I see it in the form of how could this be better? Or how is it that this person is saying stuff, and why is it reaching so many people and it's not reaching others? And that whole thing really for me has been quite exciting, because now when I see things, I'm always looking at it in the perspective of somebody who's trying to be a better marketer. And that's because my focus has changed. All right. What's interesting is you can tell a lot by a person about what they have, for instance, in their home, how they've organized their home. So for instance, if you walk into a home and you see the centerpiece as this big TV with everything around it, and you've got books on the side, you can pretty much guess what that person's interest is. But let's say you walked into a home where TV was not their focus, you'd probably see that there'd be a big wall of books, or maybe the computer is right in the center, or something like that. It's all about how you see things. All right. When I come home, I go straight down and I sit down on my computer and I work. That is the centerpiece of my environment. Everything I buy now is in some form, shape, somewhere in refers to how can I be a better marketer. When I want to buy something, it has to do with how can that contribute to my marketing. And that's why we say to you, put up goals. That's why we say to you, have affirmations that you say to yourself every day. And the only reason we say that is because when you are thinking about what you want to accomplish every single day, like Maria's is, I need to get to an event. I want to go and meet these people. That's what I want to do. What happens on the subconscious level is that you slowly start to make these tiny little adjustments. So if you, there is an exercise they teach you in sports science when they ask you to hold up a piece of cotton with a weight on the end of it. And they say, look at the weight and try and move it with your mind so that it goes to the right, your right. And so people looking at this weight and looking at this weight and looking at this weight, and then over a period of time, you'll actually find that the weight will move to the right. And it's not because your mind is moving it, it's because your fingers are actually moving it to the right. You're not really concentrating on your fingers, but you're actually looking at that weight and your fingers are moving, because on a subconscious level, that's what's happening. It's like when you see somebody kicking a goal in soccer, not in soccer, even in soccer, but in rugby, you've got these two goalposts you have to kick. Whenever you see somebody kick, what are they doing? They're looking at the goalposts and they are imagining in their head where they can kick that. So when they kick that ball, they're not really focusing in on their foot. They're focusing in on the goal. That's why they say when you go to hit a ball with a bat in baseball, keep your eye on the ball. Because actually, naturally, you just want to concentrate on the bat and making sure that you're swinging it. But they say keep your focus on the ball, so that when you hit it, all of that stuff follows through and you actually hit that ball. And so when you're focusing on your goals, when you're focusing on, all right, so I need to, in order for me to get to the event, I want to get to the event. It's got to happen. I've got to get to the event. You'll find that over time, you'll start to get yourself involved with more activities. You'll start to sell more things. You'll start to, okay, so I can sell this. And you'll find that you'll start working on your business even more. And your goal will finally reach that end. Like when I started out in my business, I said to Ryan, I said, Ryan, one day, I'm going to meet you face to face. And believe me, at that time, there was no chance in hell that I could have even imagined that I would get on a plane and fly to Vegas and meet my mentor. But I worked on my business every single day. And every single day, I thought about the fact that one day I'm going to meet Ryan. One day I'm actually going to get there. And guess what? It actually happened. Not because every day I was figuring out, okay, let me go and buy the plane ticket. or let me go and take the actions to do it. But every single day I did something that moved me forward towards my goal. And that's why we say, make these affirmations, make a list of goals that you want to do so you can actually get them. And I promise you this, if you hold to it, and if you make a list of all the goals you want to achieve, you will reach there if you are thinking about it every single day, because it becomes a habit. It becomes part of you. If you want to lose weight, and I remember there was a stint in my life when I went on this diet, and I went on this diet for about 6 months. And I was so focused in on this particular idea of me losing weight. It became part of me. I really wanted to. So it was something I thought about every single day, and I did it for 6 months. The only reason I stopped is because back then it was way too expensive. But I made an effort to keep up with this thing every single day, and I wasn't focusing in on the actual diet. I was focusing in on the fact that I really wanted to lose that weight, and I finally did it. I actually lost weight a whole lot quicker, but I was looking in at the big picture. Back to you, Jamie, in the studio.
That's awesome, Dave. Well, we're at the top of the hour, so I like to keep my show, about an hour long. So we'll have some closing thoughts. I'll let Maria go first, and then I will, and then Dave, and then I'll close out. So, Maria, closing thoughts. You're muted, dear.
Yes. I was just looking at the chat that Sonia said it was 500 groups. Well, I'm sorry, that's a lot of groups, and I am in, I think, 200 groups now, because on Facebook you see at the site, like if your friend is joining a group, you can also join. And oh, I love clicking on join. But well, Jamie, I really love being on your Hangout and talking about mindset, and I can talk hours about mindset, because I know and I'm in a phase that I'm not a beginner anymore, because I'm doing this now for almost a year, but I'm in a different stage, and I'm still learning, and I know I will get results. And people say you don't have to think about the money, but like yesterday, we are salespeople. I'm not a salespeople, but you want to get people's money. So at the end, it's also it's always about money. But thank you for being on, and I think we have, in a half an hour, we have another hangout, team hangout, and I'm so pumped up. I'm gonna join and see what's going on there, because it's now 3 o'clock here, and I think I don't go to sleep. My husband will get up at 6, so maybe he'll see me still sitting behind my computer. But thank you again, Jamie and Dave. Yeah, you are an inspiration for me. You learned me so much, and always, yeah, you give me so. You give me the feeling that I can do it, can do this, and yeah, I hope maybe I can join your hangout again, Jamie.
Sure. Dave?
Yeah, guys, at the end of the day, what we want to do is to take action. So click on the link, get involved. We'll confirm it. Visa and MasterCard accepted. Go for it. Get it now. And join us. We'll be more than happy to interact with you guys. You have a great time. Thanks, Jamie, for having me on. I really appreciate it, brother.
Sure. I want to thank both of you, Maria and Dave, for coming on and hanging out with me tonight. It's been a very great show. I have no problem going solo, but I love to have interaction and have other people on here with me and provide more value to whoever's watching, because you never know who's out there watching you. And you know, we do have another hangout here in a half an hour, team call, and it's going to be packed and exciting like it always is every week. I want to make an announcement. Next week is Thanksgiving, so I will not be having a show next Thursday because I'll be having a big family dinner here with my family because, you know, me and my wife have 7 kids together, so I'm sure my house will be packed. But stay tuned for December 1st is the following Thursday, and my special guests for that Thursday are going to be Barb and Tim Cole. So come hang out with us, and, you know, I don't know what we're going to talk about yet, but I'm sure we'll have something exciting to talk about because Barb and Tim are wealth of knowledge, and they're very powerful marketers in the industry too. So make sure you hang out with us on Monday night, 24-hour marketing mastermind show with Dave, myself, Katie, and Pops. And then Tuesday afternoon is Sonia and Maria at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And then Wednesday night is Pat Patterson's Wisdom Wednesday with Pat Patterson, Katie Stage, Dave Renica, Dave Sisler, and Miss Tandy Davis. And then back again here the following Thursday, December 1st, for the Jamie Shaw Marketing Show. And Pastor Jackie has a show tomorrow, Friday, at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. So go to pastorjackie.com and hang out on her show because she provides a lot of value too, you know. So we'll see you all next week, and thanks for being here.